Hello Jimmy, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. और so please like, comment and share the channel guys. लिंक को शेयर कर दो और आ जाओ, हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ। सबको बता दो कि हम लोग पहुंच चुके हैं लाइव। Wait a second. Let me give the link to everyone. आई गेस मैं थोड़ा सा लेट हो गया, थोड़ा सा लेट। सो प्लीज़ एवरीवन लाइक, कमेंट और शेयर जल्दी से कर दो ताकि हम लोग वीडियो को शुरू करें। तो हमारे साथ कौन कौन जुड़ रहा है, प्लीज़ राइट इन द कमेंट सेक्शन। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट गाइज, लेट्स स्टार्ट द बुक। ठीक है, आज थोड़ा बुक पे ही फोकस करेंगे। अच्छा, मैं जल्दी आ गया क्या? आई स्टार्टेड टू अर्ली। Let's start. Okay. During my last year ये हो चुका है. Once I made that decision and began working with hard to achieve that. As step towards my dream, I started volunteering at a doctor's office, assisting him as a compounder to get exposure of what it was like to be a doctor. तो देखो, वो डॉक्टर बनना चाहता था। फाइनली जब वो कॉलेज में था उसने डिसाइड कर लिया कि मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है, सोनली बिकॉज डॉक्टर मेड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी, क्योंकि डॉक्टर बहुत ज़्यादा पैसे कमाते हैं। माई मदर हैड इंस्टिल्ड in us confidence and that the belief that we would achieve what we wanted in our lives. Once I made that decision, I began working very hard to achieve that. As a step toward my dream, I started volunteering at a doctor's office, assisting him as a compounder to get exposure of what it was like to be a doctor. तो कंपाउंडर की तरह काम किया ताकि वो समझ सके कि डॉक्टर कैसे काम करते हैं। Sometimes the universe has its own way of putting you on the right path to manifest your beliefs. I was bright. Wait a second. Wait a second, guys. Yep, did you the phone? So let's tune. दो लोग आ चुके हैं, आई गेस द अदर पर्सन इज मोल कंठालिया ऑन द स्ट्रीम. तो जो जो जुड़ता जा रहा है एक बार कमेंट कर दो ताकि हमें पता तो चले. हेलो फ्रेश अटायर, हाउ आर यू? ठीक है, sometimes the universe has its own way of putting you on the right path to manifest your beliefs. I was a bright student and everyone was confident of me getting into medical college, but somehow I did not perform well on the entrance exam and could not gain admission into medicine. I had to continue with pursuing a degree in science with no declaration. I became depressed and saw my dreams shatter before me. It was a direct threat to my belief. My fear started playing on my mind. If I don't become a doctor, I will not be able to earn good money and will not be able to live the life I have dreamed of. But my mother consoled me, saying, "Everything happens for a good reason, brother. You may have some other opportunity waiting for you. Don't give up on your dreams." She wasn't just saying that to make me feel better, she was speaking from her experience and her belief. तो क्या हुआ जब उसने अपना एंट्रेंस एग्ज़ाम देखा ना, एंट्रेंस एग्ज़ाम देकर आया, स्टूडेंट भी बहुत अच्छा था स्कूल में, तो लोग सोचते थे कि ये कुछ ना कुछ लाइफ में अच्छा करेगा, बट ऐसा हुआ नहीं। उसने एंट्रेंस एग्ज़ाम में कुछ अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं किया, मार्क्स अच्छे नहीं आए, ही वॉन्ट गेट एडमिशन इन अ गुड कॉलेज। उसको एक अच्छे कॉलेज में एडमिशन नहीं मिला, और जब नहीं मिला एडमिशन तो उसने कहा यार वो मतलब घबराने लग गया। और वो घबराने से क्या होता है, आप अपने बिलीफ, जो आप बिलीव करते हो उस चीज़ को खोने लग जाते हो। ठीक है, उसकी मॉम ने कहा नहीं, उसकी मॉम ने हमेशा बोला जो चीज़ होती है अच्छे के लिए होती है, और डोंट गिव अप ऑन योर ड्रीम्स, इतनी जल्दी अपने ड्रीम्स के ऊपर गिव अप मत करो। शी वॉजंट जस्ट सेइंग दैट टू मेक मी फील बेटर, शी वॉज स्पीकिंग from her experience and her belief. We generally form our beliefs, good and bad, based on the events that occurs, people we associate with, and our dreams and goals. Everything seems good when things are going as per our expectations, but even one negative incident has the potential to destroy our positive beliefs. At some times, we need some to be there by our sides to tell us, hey, everything's gonna be fine. I consider myself very fortunate that this role was played by my mother. Whatever I am today, I owe it to her. I realize that as parents, we have a huge responsibility of the belief we instill in our children. Children are great observers and they observe everything happening around, positive or negative, that assimilation shape their belief and later becomes their reality. तो क्या होता है कि बच्चे जो होते हैं दे आर ग्रेट ऑब्जर्वर्स, वो बहुत अच्छे से ऑब्जर्व करते हैं एंड दे ऑब्जर्व एवरीथिंग हैपनिंग अराउंड, पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव। जो भी आसपास हो रहा है पॉजिटिव हो रहा है उसको ग्रैब कर लेंगे, जो नेगेटिव हो रहा है उसको ग्रैब कर लेंगे। द सिमुलेशन शेप द बिलीव, और यही सारी चीज़ें उनके बिलीफ को बनाती हैं एंड लेटर बिकम्स देयर रियलिटी, और वही चीज़ रियलिटी बन जाती है। After we got the news that I was not accepted to medical college, our tenant younger brother, who was a professor at pharmacy college in Ahmedabad, suggested that I try for pharmacy, which is which is a related subject. Without really knowing what I was getting into, I decided to take up pharmacy out of depression. What that meant was that I would have to commit to an extra year graduate pharmacy school, a decision that was hard to make because that meant one more year of fees. To make matters worse, I flunked my first year and had to stay back. I graduated college 2 years later than my high school friends in the year 1976. At the time, it seemed like a huge failure. However, had I not failed, I would not have met my best friend in life, Kiran Joshi, and his family. Kiran's father was Secretary Chief of Staff to the Governor of Gujarat, and he became the father figure I so badly missed. I learned many valuable lessons from him, lessons that have made me the man I am today. अब क्या हो रहा है? To matters worse, I flunked my first year and had to stay back. I graduated college 2 years later than my high school friends in 1976. At the time, it seems like huge failure. However, had I not failed, I would not have met my best friend in life, Kiran Joshi, and his family. Kiran's father was Secretary of Chief of Staff to the Governor of Gujarat. He became the father figure I so badly missed. I learned many valuable lessons from him, lessons that have made me the man I am today. After graduating, I got a job in pharmaceutical company in Valsad and had to move there. During that time, America had stopped granting visas to doctors and opened doors for nurses and pharmacists. This meant that I was one step closer to my dream and of moving to America. I applied for the visa, but since American consulate was flooded with applications, they decided to restrict the entry by introducing an English language test for the first time. According letters were sent to all the applicants. However, I did not receive it on time due to my relocation to another town for work. By the time it was redirected and received, the exam was already over. Once again I could see my dreams slipping through off. तो वो कह रहा है कि मेरे ड्रीम्स फिर से आज सब सो गए. हाँ सब सो गए, आज थोड़ा लेट हो गए, हम थोड़ा जल्दी करना चाहिए था. Once again I could see my dreams slipping through my hands like sand, but I immediately snapped out of it, told myself, whatever happens or doesn't happen in my life is for my good. I went with the letter to the US consulate office and explained the issue. To my utter surprise, he looked me in directly for the interview. Skipping the exam, I was thrilled to see my belief at work. I realized that I had I appeared for English exam, I would have failed miserably as having getting a visa and starting making plans with the US. I landed in the US in 1978 with $20 in my pocket and two suitcases. I learned of vacancy for assistant to the manager is one of the largest pharmacy chain store is New York. Due to due to some confusion with the trains, I reached the store 3 hours late for the interview. I think remember the store 3 hours late for the interview. ठीक है. I landed in the US in 1978 with $20 in my pocket and two suitcases. I learned of a vacancy for assistant to the manager is one of the largest pharmacy chain in New York. Due to some confusion with trains, I reached the store 3 hours late for the interview. I still remember the words of manager. He said, "If you can't even find store, how will you find the medicine? Get out of here." I I was fired from the job even before I started. I was jobless again. One of my friends knew of bank which was looking to hire someone for temporary work as a mailroom clerk. So I took the job as as I needed desperately. After I started working, the department head and I developed a good rapport, and he ended up offering me a full-time position as a computer operator in a newly opened data center, Queens, New York. At this point, I had to make a decision. Would I continue a career in pharmacy or would I start? I had to make a decision. Would I continue a career in pharmacy or would I start on a new path? Is technology. In spite of a lot of resistance from my family and friends, I made one of the most pivot decisions of my life. I chose to end my pharmacy chapter forever, as my instincts told me that technology was the future and I knew that I could become successful in that field. I took up the job, there was no looking back after that. Within 10 years, I became a vice president of computer department of Citibank. क्या हुआ था? अमन बुक डेली रीड करते हो थोड़ा पहले करें. क्या अमन बुक डेली रीड करते हो थोड़ा पहले करते हैं. ओके ओके, कोशिश करेंगे अब पहले रीड करने का. ठीक है, आई विल डू इट थोड़ा अर्ली ताकि सब लोग जागते रहें और कुछ सीखते रहें. ये थोड़ी सी बुक मुझे बोरिंग लग रही है. अभी स्टार्ट उन्होंने अपने बारे में बताना किया है, फिर हम लोग शुरू करेंगे यहाँ से जब वो I'll be in the happy again। चैप्टर 1 अभी पढ़ रहे हैं हम, चैप्टर 2 भी चलेगा, चैप्टर 3 भी चलेगा, और फिर चैप्टर 2 के बाद थ्योरी आने लग जाएगी मेरे हिसाब से। सो गाइस स्टे ट्यून्ड विद अमन रावत। आज ना थोड़ा सा रुक जाओ। आई विल बी बैक, मतलब आज की स्ट्रीमिंग को यहीं ख़त्म करते हैं क्योंकि अभी मेरे को भी थोड़ा सा जोश नहीं आ रहा।